church. I am beginning to believe that if the church can just get people to become normal, then it would have accomplished a great deal. I never thought that there was so much pain of abuse, pain of sexual abuse, pain of physical abuse, and the saints would come up to the mic, and I've discovered now that I have to have counselors because there was no leadership in the home. When fathers were not there, it just changes the whole balance of how people think and how lives operate when fathers just move the father out of the house and everything goes askew in that house. Girls reach for men they don't need and looking for love in the wrong places. Boys not knowing how to operate in respect because they can't handle responsibility. I wish I could talk to you. And the question I ask is, can a black woman really love a black man? Can they really love? Particularly if you put love and respect together. Amen. If love and respect go together, I'm not going to preach that tonight, but if love and respect go together, as the individual diminishes in his capacity to handle responsibility, so does he diminish in his capacity to be respected. Can I submit that to you just very gradually? That if respect and love go together, the question now becomes, can you love who you don't respect? If love and respect go together, because to have respect, you have to handle responsibility. And if you diminish in your capacity to handle responsibility, doesn't the subject diminish in her capacity to love you? Because on what level are you forced to love if you have to love who you can't respect? I submit that when you miss it in the home, then what happens is it becomes generational. So what we're fighting today is not what happened in the last 2 generations. What we're fighting today is something that has gone on from colonialization. Amen. It's frightening. Now, if you separate love from respect, then you make love subjective. And love is not now tied to the object. Love is tied to the subject. Well, it can't be phileo, because in a brotherly relationship, when you love your friend, it's reciprocal. Amen. You don't hang out with people on a one-side basis. You hang out with people because of reciprocity, because people requite, because you get something back. Well, it can't be eros, because eros is looking for pleasure. Amen. It could be storge to a certain point, because natural affection is family love. But Paul said that in the last days, family affection would not be there. People would lose natural affection. It's really interesting that people don't even like you now. For no reason. And the only way the only way Solomon could have settled the case with the mothers, the prostitutes who had the children, remember? And one died. Do you remember that story? And Solomon said, bring me the child, slice the child in 2. You remember that? Amen. And the real mother said, don't do it, because she had natural affection. If he did not tap into natural affection, he couldn't have solved the case. You follow what I'm saying? So we live in a time where people will hurt you just out of GP. So it would have to be agape. If you can love what's not respectable, It has to be agape. But agape carries with it pity. Leave that alone. And agape, oh, we need to just help our black brothers. We got to help our black men, and we got to love them no matter what. Amen. Because now we're into pity. If you have great leadership in your home, you ought to give God thanks. If you have great leadership in your church, you ought to give God thanks. It changes the way your life goes. Amen. When you have somebody who is a gift from God, anybody who helps you to get closer to God is a gift from God. Amen. And I'm not even dealing with the creative aspect of this job, because you know when the preacher's not prepared. And certain preachers show up, you're not coming. Amen. Y'all called the wrong one if you didn't want the truth. Amen. Sometimes we sit with the committee, and the committee puts together the list of preachers who are coming, and the committee don't show up. Amen. And the creative aspect of this job is horrendous, because every Sunday the preacher has to have something for the congregation. Now, if a person's on the field, like I preached in 20 different places this month, if a person's on the road, all he needs is 10 good messages and a good secretary, so that he doesn't preach the same thing in the same place when he goes back the next time. Amen. That's all he needs. But when the preacher has to preach to the same congregation every Sunday, and sometimes when he gets ready to study, this big Bible shrinks into a pamphlet. It just becomes one leaf when he's trying to find something to preach. And everything he preach, he feels like preaching, he's already preached it. Amen. And he's not just having a 3-point sermon. He's got to have a word that is germane and significant for the time in which you live. Because the truth of the matter is, if everybody came back tomorrow night, wore the same clothes, sat in the same seats, you would still be a different congregation. Because between now and tomorrow night, you might have experienced something that was wonderful or something that was catastrophic, and it would have changed your psyche, your mental energy, and your disposition towards life when you walk through the door. So you're not just looking for a performance. You're looking for a word that is significant to change your life. I wish I could talk to you. And so now the preacher, while you are out having a good time Saturday night, he's nervous and he's worried that God won't give him all that he needs for the next morning. So because he's busy with administration and management, and it's really contradictory, because the bigger the church gets, the more management demand is placed on you. But the more management demand is, the less you study. And it's study why people come to the house, not management. It is the worship service, the climate in the worship service, that causes people to come. And now, but you have to manage. So now you're managing, you're studying less, so you get up on Sunday and you take something you preached before and you connected it with something over in the back, and you get a new subject. But the church folk take notes. Lord have mercy. Got your name by it, got the subject by it, got the date you preached it by it, and some have the unmitigated gall and audacity to tell you you preached it better the first time. Amen.